My beloved child, I saw every moment you chose obedience over recognition, every quiet act of faithfulness when no one clapped, no one praised, and no one noticed. While others questioned your decisions, your timing, and your steps, I smiled from heaven, for I knew what I was building within you. You walked roads paved with misunderstanding, carried burdens of being overlooked, and continued even when others mocked your direction. But what they failed to see, I watched with pride every time you denied yourself for the sake of my name, every time you prayed behind closed doors when no one else believed in the vision I placed in you. Their doubt was never your disqualification. In fact, I used their disbelief to purify your motives. I needed your roots to go deep before your fruit could be seen, and that required seasons of hidden preparation. Others measured you by appearance, but I measured your depth. I saw how you held on to hope when it hurt, how you didn't fight back when accused, how you forgave instead of seeking revenge. Those quiet moments became your curriculum, that silence was your training ground. You were not wasting time. You were growing, strengthening, and learning to walk by faith, not applause. I allowed the silence to shape your ears to hear me more clearly, for the crowd's noise often drowns my whispers. Now, as the test approaches, do not fear the pressure, for you have already passed the private tests that prepared you for this public one. You didn't need the world's validation when you were becoming who I called you to be. The crown is coming, but the character had to come first. I'm proud of how you kept walking when it didn't make sense, how you prepared when nothing seemed to be coming, how you stayed faithful when you felt forgotten. What they doubted in you will soon be undeniable, and what they thought would be your end will become the evidence of my hand on your life. I have not missed a single detail. Your test begins with confidence that I have already been watching every step of your preparation. You are entering a season where everything that was hidden in you will now be revealed, not through ease, but through challenge. You may feel uncertain, but I assure you, I have not placed you here to be crushed. The weight you will carry in this moment is not meant to destroy you. It is designed to draw out the resilience that I embedded in your spirit long before you ever understood your purpose. This test is not about watching you fail. It is about unveiling a version of you that you have yet to meet. There is a depth to your spirit, a capacity in your faith, and a steadiness in your heart that even you have not fully discovered. You've only seen glimpses of what I've been building. You've stood through seasons of silence, but now comes the hour where what you carry will rise. Do not mistake discomfort for disqualification. When the ground beneath you shakes, and familiar things no longer support you, do not panic. It is simply the shifting of old structures making room for my strength to emerge. Everything in you that trusted me when nothing around you made sense, those quiet seeds of faith, are about to sprout under the heat of pressure. You are not facing this moment empty-handed. The strength I placed in you was never surface level. It was forged in adversity, nurtured in obedience, and solidified through surrender. Even when you doubted if you were ready, I was preparing you for exactly this. This test is not a question of your worth. It's a stage for your anointing. The trials will come, but so will the awakening of authority. The winds may howl, but you won't break because you were never built from the things that can be destroyed. I did not equip you for comfort. I molded you for impact. As the waves rise, I will anchor you deeper. As confusion surrounds others, you will carry unshakable clarity. Your strength is not in your ability to avoid hardship, but in your refusal to bow to it. What I've placed in you will not be shaken by rumors, by rejection, by delay, or by betrayal. Everything in this season will serve one purpose: to show you that you are no longer who you once were. You are not being tested for punishment, but for unveiling. Like gold refined in fire, your value is about to become visible to you, not just others. This process is not about earning anything. It is about showing what already exists. And when this test passes, you won't just walk out the same. You'll walk out glowing with clarity, with strength, and with a new understanding of who you've become in me. Do not shrink when the pressure increases. Do not flee when the unfamiliar appears. This is the moment where everything I've deposited in your soul will step forward, You are stronger than your fear, greater than your past, and ready for what's next, not because of effort, but because of my spirit that lives within you. Let this test prove that my work in you was never in vain. Step forward with assurance, not because the path looks safe, but because I have already walked through every moment that lies ahead of you. You do not face the coming season alone. I have stepped into every situation before you arrive. There is no part of your journey that surprises me, no sudden event that catches me unaware, and no dark cloud that escapes my attention. Every storm that is about to rise has already been under my authority. You are not entering uncertainty. You are walking into what I have already conquered. I went before you to arrange outcomes, to align timing, and to ensure that every opposing force bends to my will. I faced the winds that would try to throw you off course, and I subdued them before they reached your doorstep. I faced the voices that would try to discourage you and silence their impact. I walked through the terrain that looked too difficult and cleared the way for your feet to stand steady when the ground starts to tremble. You may see the chaos approaching, but I see the opportunities hidden within it. Where others see danger, I see destiny taking shape. You spent time preparing, and now I want you to trust that I have done the same. I did not send you forward without first walking through every trial that waits. What looks like confusion is part of my design. What looks like opposition is the birthplace of elevation. I knew exactly what would arise against you, and I've already turned each threat into a stepping stone. Your confidence must not rest in what your eyes observe, but in what your spirit knows, that I go before you and nothing can undo what before the first ripple formed, before the clouds gathered and the wind stirred. I was already there. Every path you're about to tread has already felt the imprint of my footsteps. I didn't wait for you to ask me to go first. I took the lead out of love. And nothing that will come against you has the power to surprise me. I have surveyed the terrain, dismantled unseen traps, and silenced threats you never even knew existed. I have orchestrated this moment with divine precision. Do not allow uncertainty to speak louder than my promises. You were never intended to navigate this alone. I move ahead of you like a shield that never cracks and a light that never dims. My presence stretches beyond the limits of your understanding and wraps around the timeline of your life like a banner of victory. When you see chaos, I see construction. When you hear noise, I hear opportunity for peace. I did not bring you this far to abandon you at the door of destiny. I am already on the other side of the unknown, preparing encounters, positioning favor, and placing strength where you will need it most. While fear tries to whisper limitations, I declare boldness into your very breath. Every echo of anxiety is silenced by the certainty of my nearness. Even if you can't trace every detail, trust the design. The storm may appear wild to your eyes, but to mine, it's a path that leads to transformation. Don't mistake turbulence for a lack of direction. I use what is unsettled to awaken what is asleep. You are not being tossed aimlessly. You are being carried by grace into places you would have never entered by comfort. Every wave is under my command. Every gust must submit to my word. I have gone before you, not just to make the way, but to make you ready for the way. You will not walk into traps. You will walk into testimonies. What the world calls danger, I call development. What they call impossible, I call the beginning of glory. I am not just near you. I am ahead of you, ranging divine intersections that will unfold at the exact time they must. There will be moments when it looks like everything is unraveling, but that's when you must remember, I unraveled it first, and I rewrote it for your good. Trust what you cannot see, because I have seen it all. Even your tears are accounted for, even your sighs are sacred to me. I have already turned weapons into tools, storms into sanctuaries, and confusion into clarity, before you even knew you'd need those things. So walk forward, not with hesitation, but with sacred confidence. The journey does not require you to be fearless. It requires you to remember who is with you and ahead of you. And I promise, what looks like danger will become the doorway into the deepest encounter you've had with me yet. I am not waiting for you at the finish line. I am walking through every step, both before and beside you. There are lessons that were whispered to your spirit when no one was watching, truths buried deep in moments where you thought nothing was happening. But I was teaching you even then. In the places where the world saw nothing, I was planting wisdom, insight, and discernment that could not be stolen. What you gained in those hidden moments is not meant to stay concealed. The silence, the waiting, the questions, and the tears were shaping something in you that is now ready to emerge. You didn't understand then why I pulled you away from certain places or kept you behind the scenes, but now you will begin to understand. Because what I taught you in obscurity is about to shine in purpose. You were never forgotten. You were being entrusted with revelations that required stillness. I was preparing you for rooms that your voice would reach only when it echoed with maturity. The light that now approaches isn't for attention, it's for assignment. I will expose what's in you, not to spotlight your story, but to reveal my faithfulness through it. Others will be drawn not to your image, but to the evidence of my work in you. You did learn those hard lessons in vain. I will use everything, yes, even the tears, even the times you wanted to give up, even the situations that made no sense, to now build others, guide hearts, and break chains. When the light hits what you've carried, it will not just illuminate you, it will ignite those around you. The quiet victories you gained when no one celebrated you, those are the foundations upon which I will build something that carries eternal value. This is not a season for shrinking back or doubting what you carry. The refinement you went through in the night was preparing you for this unveiling. Others may not know the full story, but I do, and I will make sure that the fruit of your endurance is seen, not for your glory, but for the healing of many. As the spotlight rises, keep your eyes on me. Let humility be your anchor and obedience your guide. You are not stepping into the light to impress anyone. You are stepping into it to release what I deposited in you long ago. You are a vessel of purpose, not performance. This is your time to walk boldly, not because you feel ready, but because you are full of what I've been storing inside you for this very hour. The shadows did not break you. They prepared you to carry light without pride, without fear, and without compromise. Now walk forward, knowing that what you once whispered in prayer, what you once cried out in weakness, is about to become a message of strength for others. You are stepping into visibility, not as someone seeking recognition, but as someone who had been refined by fire and found faithful in silence. There will come moments in the middle of your rising when the enemy will try to whisper lies loud enough to drown the truth you once stood upon. You will not attack what is uncertain. He aims directly at what is destined. And because you carry my purpose, he will wage war against your identity. He will try to make you question your worth, your calling, your belonging. He will use your past like a weapon, throw your mistakes like arrows, and magnify your insecurities as if they were louder than my voice. But hear me clearly. Who you are is not up for negotiation. I named you, I marked you, I formed you with my hands, and I breathed my spirit into you. No opinion can undo what I have declared over your life. You are not a project of the world's expectations. You are a product of heaven's design. And no amount of accusation can reverse the truth I have spoken over you. The enemy will always aim to distort your reflection because he fears what will happen when you see yourself as I do. But I have sealed you. I have clothed you with purpose, not performance. I have equipped you with peace, not confusion. I have affirmed you with my voice that speaks louder than the chaos around you. You are not who fear says you are. You are not who shame claims you were. You are not even who others have decided you should be. You are mine. You were chosen before your first breath. You were set apart before you understood what surrender meant. And in this season of testing, when lies come dressed in familiar memories and false definitions, hold fast to what I taught you. You must not entertain the counterfeit, even when it comes wrapped in emotions. Identity is not a feeling. It is a divine declaration. And I have declared you victorious, whole, loved, forgiven, and empowered. You are not trying to become someone new. You are walking into the fullness of who you've always been in me. So when opposition tries to stir confusion, let my word be your mirror. Let my promises be your compass. Let my spirit remind you of what your heart already knows. You are not standing in this battle to prove yourself. You are standing firm because you've already been approved by the one who made you. This season will not redefine you. It will confirm you. And when the dust settles, you will not emerge wounded by lies. You will rise standing tall in truth. What I sealed cannot be stolen. What I authored cannot be erased. You are not on trial. You are in alignment with a victory that was decided long ago. No lie has power where truth is honored. And the truth is, I am in you. I am with you. And I will never allow confusion to overtake the identity I crafted with eternal love. Walk boldly. Speak as one who knows their name. Live as one who has nothing to prove. You have already been chosen. You have faced trials in the past, but what is approaching carries a different weight. One that doesn't just challenge your strength but repositions your very path. This is not just another difficulty to overcome or another lesson to survive. This test is the threshold of transformation. It holds the power to reroute everything you thought you knew about your purpose, your capacity, and your influence. In this season, I am not just refining you, I am redirecting you. There are moments appointed in heaven that shift the course of a life entirely, and you are walking straight into one of those moments now. That is why the pressure feels unfamiliar and the resistance feels amplified, because what's at stake is not just what you carry today, but what you are being entrusted to carry tomorrow. The outcome of this testing is tied to a greater unfolding of your calling. I am not allowing this moment to stretch you simply for growth, but because what's ahead demands a version of you that walks in maturity, clarity, and conviction. I know what is waiting on the other side, and I would not be a faithful father if I didn't prepare you for it thoroughly. The previous tests were about training. This one is about transition. You are being moved out of the ordinary into the extraordinary, not in appearance, but in impact. You are being called out of routine and into radical obedience. The shaking you feel is not the undoing of your foundation. It is the repositioning of your entire structure. And in this process, I am making you aware of what can no longer go with you. Old mindsets, past compromises, outdated visions. They cannot remain when destiny begins to rise. I am not asking for fragments of your willingness. I am drawing out a deeper surrender than ever before. This test will confront what you've been holding onto quietly while pretending it no longer affects you. It will demand honesty. It will summon courage. And it will require that you stop explaining yourself to those who were never called to walk this journey with you. I will bring clarity, but only after you release your grip on certainty. This moment is sacred, and though it may come with discomfort, it also comes with divine upgrade. I am removing everything that would have hindered your rise later by addressing it now. And though it feels like a battle, it is actually a birth. You are crossing over from preparation into possession, from vision into fulfillment. But to do so, you must pass through this test, not with resistance but with reverence. This isn't punishment, it's passage. You are not being held back, you are being launched forward in a way that you could not have imagined. And soon, when you look back, you will not see a moment of pain, you will see a turning point of promise. You will understand that this was not an interruption, but the very intersection where everything began to align with heaven's blueprint for your life. What I am doing now will not make sense at first, but trust me, it is bigger than a breakthrough. It is destiny unfolding. There are times when those you thought would stay will leave, and the ones you believed were permanent will turn out to be temporary. This is one of those times. In the season you are entering, you will begin to notice the absence of familiar voices, familiar faces, and even familiar comforts. But this is not abandonment. It is divine release. I am allowing certain people to step away, not because you failed them, but because they were never meant to stand beside you in the next part of your journey. There are places I am calling you that cannot accommodate the opinions, limitations, or compromises of those who never saw the full scope of your purpose. Some relationships were only meant to accompany you through your preparation, not your elevation. Your exit may feel like a loss, but in truth, it's an unburdening. I have watched you carry people who did not carry you. I have seen you defend loyalty that was no longer serving growth. And now I am intervening. I am making room for alignment. Do not misinterpret my pruning as punishment. When someone leaves during your testing, it is not your assignment to go after them. It is your invitation to trust that I am bringing substance where there was once only shadow. Many spoke words that sounded supportive but held no weight. Many stood near you but not with you. I am replacing symbolic support with authentic connection. Those I am sending next will not be threatened by your calling. They will not shrink from your anointing. They will not require explanation for your obedience. You will know them by the peace they carry and the honor they bring. But they can only arrive once the space has been cleared. Let go of the guilt you feel for growing beyond old attachments. You are not walking in pride, you are walking in purpose. And not everyone is willing to take that walk with you. I know how your heart longs for unity, but you must understand this. There is a difference between unity and captivity. Some alliances have been holding you back under the illusion of support. This test will reveal who is truly connected to your mission and who was simply comfortable with your limitations. Do not mourn the necessary separation. I will give you peace in the departure. I will surround you with strength in the transition. And I will show you that what left was never stronger than what I am about to bring. The connections coming will not drain you. They will refresh you. They will not compete. They will uplift. They will speak truth, walk in integrity, and carry vision that mirrors mine. But you must first stop pursuing the ones I have already removed. Do not go looking for what I have closed. Trust that if I allowed someone to walk away in this sacred testing season, it is because I saw what you could not. I heard conversations you never did. I knew intentions that were hidden beneath their words. And in my mercy, I've protected you through separation. Let me do the replacing. Let me do the rebuilding. And when it is done, you will look around and find that everything and everyone still standing with you is meant to carry weight, not just image. I am exchanging the temporary for the eternal. You will not miss what I remove, for what I bring will be full of my presence, full of truth, and full of strength to walk with you into the fullness of your calling. In the middle of the storm, when voices around you rise in worry, when the atmosphere becomes charged with doubt, and the pressure seems unbearable, I call you into a posture the world cannot understand. Stillness. It may appear counterintuitive when chaos demands immediate reaction, when situations escalate, and outcomes remain uncertain. But the stillness I speak of is not inactivity, it is trust in motion. It is the kind of surrender that says, I don't need to fight for control because I know who holds the outcome. In this hour of testing, you will feel the urge to respond quickly, to fix what seems broken, to defend yourself, or to move before I speak. But my instruction is clear. Resist the pull, the panic, and choose the peace that stillness offers. I am not asking you to be silent because I want you weak. I am asking you to stand in stillness so my strength can be revealed in fullness. What you do not say in haste will testify louder than anything said in anxiety. While others rush to solve and scramble for answers, your peace will declare that your confidence is not found in circumstances but in the one who governs all things. I have not called you to outshout the storm, but to outlast it through steady faith. Do not confuse stillness with passivity. There is a holy strength in the soul that waits on me instead of running ahead. There's an unmatched authority in the one who trusts that my hand is moving even when their eyes see nothing. In the silence, I am speaking. In the pause, I am planning. And in the quiet, I am conquering what your striving could never touch. The ones who endure the deepest tests are not always the loudest, but often the ones who know how to rest while the shaking continues. I will teach you how to discern when to speak and when to remain calm, when to take action and when to allow me to intervene on your behalf. Do not let the urgency of the moment rob you of the clarity I've prepared for you in stillness. In your quietness, people may misunderstand you. They may accuse you of apathy or weakness, but let me remind you, even my son stood silent before those who falsely accused him, not because he lacked the words, but because he held the authority to let heaven answer for him. That same divine restraint is now being developed in you. You will learn how to rise without reaction, how to hold your peace when the world expects retaliation, and how to be anchored in truth when everything else is shifting. His test is revealing what anchors you. If your soul moves every time the wind shifts, the storm will own your focus. But if you root yourself in me, no wave can drown your destiny. The silence I am teaching you is not empty, it is powerful. It says, I trust the one who sees the full picture. And soon, others will watch and wonder how you stayed composed while everything else demanded chaos. That stillness will become your testimony. That unshakable calm will declare louder than words that I am your defender, your provider, and your deliverer. Let the storm rage, I will keep you steady. Let the noise rise, I will train your ears to hear me above it all. Let the fear press in. I will expand your capacity to stand still and know that I am God. You are not losing time in the stillness. You are gaining revelation. And what I reveal in the silence will guide you into victory that cannot be reversed. Stand still, my child. Let your peace speak for you. As you walk deeper into this sacred season, you'll notice the volume of opinions increasing around you. Suggestions will come from every direction, some from those who mean well, others from those who seek to distract. There will be loud voices wrapped in urgency, offering advice that sounds right but lacks my spirit. There will be persuasive arguments, emotional noise, and even spiritual-sounding words that don't originate from my heart. In the midst of this, you must tune your ears with care. Do not rush to follow what is popular. Do not move based on pressure or persuasion. Your spirit must be anchored in my voice alone, for only what I speak carries the weight of peace. And peace is not simply the absence of conflict. It is the divine confirmation that you are aligned with my will, even if it goes against the crowd. You are not called to be swayed by trends, guided by emotions, or intimidated by what others expect. Your path is not for public approval, it is for divine fulfillment. In this test, the ability to hear me clearly will matter more than ever. Not because I have stopped speaking, but because the noise has multiplied. I speak with stillness, not chaos. I lead with consistency, not confusion. And when I speak, even in correction, my words carry a clarity that breaks anxiety's grip. I will never rush you with fear. I will never manipulate your decisions. I will never pressure you with guilt or performance. My voice does not produce panic, it produces purpose. You must learn to pause and measure every word you hear against my truth. Don't allow familiarity to convince you that a voice is from me just because it's been near you for a long time. Discernment is not about recognizing what sounds spiritual. It's about recognizing what carries my breath. And I will train you in this. You'll begin to feel it in your spirit. When something spoken seems right but leaves you restless, when a suggestion feels helpful but pulls you from peace. That tension is not to be ignored. It is my spirit nudging you to listen more deeply. When I speak, you won't be left second-guessing. I will confirm my words through alignment, through scripture, and through a deep-rooted peace that nothing can replicate. This test will not only refine your decisions, it will refine your hearing. You're not just learning to follow me, you're learning to recognize me, even in the middle of voices competing for your agreement. I am not a distant sound. I'm the still whisper that calms the soul. I'm the word that settles your heart when every other suggestion brings confusion. When others push for quick answers, I invite you into stillness. When others demand movement, I teach you how to wait. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. For what good is a step forward if it takes you in the wrong direction? I am more concerned with your alignment than your speed. Let me teach you how to pause long enough to distinguish my voice from all the rest. I know the plans I have for you, and I won't allow the noise to lead you astray. If you choose to lean into my presence more than into the pressure, when you seek my voice, you'll find that clarity replaces chaos, assurance replaces anxiety, and truth overpowers confusion. You are not alone in the noise. I am here, steady and close. Follow my voice. Let it lead you through the noise and into your next victory. Though the path ahead may seem daunting, and the weight pressing against you feels relentless, understand this. You are not entering this moment defenseless. I have not sent you into battle without preparation, nor have I allowed the test without giving you the tools to endure it. Long before the pressure increased, I was developing in you the unseen strength that does not break when circumstances shift. This endurance I placed within you wasn't born in ease. It was built through every moment you chose to keep going when quitting looked easier. It was formed in the quiet spaces where you didn't see immediate results but still refused to abandon the process. The resilience inside you now is not accidental, it's intentional. I've trained your spirit to carry more than your emotions would suggest. What's in you is not surface-level courage, it's rooted perseverance. When the world looks at you and assumes fragility, I see a vessel reinforced by grace and forged in fire. Your endurance isn't loud, but it is unshakable. It doesn't seek attention, but it stands firm when others fall. You don't need to feel powerful to walk in power, because the authority I've placed in you is not based on feelings. It's built on faith that refuses to be moved. I did not call you to impress anyone with how fast you finish. I called you to finish faithfully, with a heart that stayed soft and a posture that stayed surrendered. The test is not here to expose your limits. It is here to activate what I've already built beneath the surface. And yes, the pressure may stretch you, but stretching is not a sign of breaking. It's evidence of growth. You are not being pushed to the edge to fall. You are being expanded for greater capacity. Every time you choose not to give in to weariness, every time you refuse to compromise for comfort, every time you show up despite how drained you feel, that's endurance growing stronger inside you. It is a quiet flame that won't be put out by delay, rejection, or silence. It's what keeps you anchored when answers don't come immediately. It's what fuels your obedience when your flesh screams for escape. And I want you to know, I see the weight you're carrying. I see the tears you won't let fall in front of others. I see the moments where you feel overlooked while you're still pressing forward. But my eyes have never left you. I don't measure your success by your ease. I measure it by your willingness to keep trusting when the road gets hard. You have not failed for feeling tired. You have not disappointed me because you questioned the journey. I am not looking for perfection. I'm watching for persistence. And you, my beloved, are enduring far more than you realize, not in your own strength, but in the strength I have deposited in you. Let this test reveal what your comfort never could. You are stronger than the storm, not because you are invincible, but because I am your source. As pressure surrounds you, you'll find that your endurance does not shrink, it expands. You are being made into someone who will not only pass this test, but will also carry others through their own. The durability of your faith, the stamina of your hope, and the steadiness of your devotion will become a testimony of my power at work in your life. So do not fear the days ahead. Do not dread the rising demands. You are not empty. You are equipped. You are not fragile. You are fortified. And you are not barely surviving. You are steadily overcoming, one faithful step at a time. In this defining hour, I am not asking you to impress me with your performance. I am not waiting to see how long you can keep pretending to hold it all together. This is not a test of outward control. It is an invitation into inner surrender. The world may have taught you to fake confidence, to hide exhaustion, to smile through the weight of your breaking heart. But I have never measured your strength by how well you pretend. My way is different. My strength flows through honesty, not appearances. I am not searching for someone who never struggles. I am looking for the one who trusts me enough to bring their weakness into the light. You don't need to hold your breath, keep your mask on, or hide your trembling. Let me into the places you're trying to protect. Let me touch the thoughts you're afraid to admit out loud. You will not pass this test by being perfect. You will pass it by being real. Bring me your weariness. Lay down the image you've tried so hard to maintain. Let me teach you the sacred beauty of surrender, not as giving up, but as giving into my care. You see, when you try to power through on your own, you limit what I can release through you. But when you open your hands, when you confess your need, when you stop trying to prove and begin trusting instead, that's when my power becomes visible in your life. That's when strength rises from within you that no human effort can replicate. I know how hard you've tried. I've watched you push past emotional walls, press through disappointment, and show up even when your soul felt empty. And I honor every single moment. But now I am leading you to something deeper: dependence. Not weakness, not collapse, but the holy posture that says, I can't, but you can. There is no shame in surrender. It's the doorway to divine exchange. It's where your anxiety turns into clarity. It's where your striving ends, and my supernatural grace begins to flow freely. I did not bring you here to prove anything to the world. I brought you here to lean into me more than you ever have. You are not failing by admitting you're tired. You are not backsliding by crying in my presence. You are not weak for needing help. In fact, those very moments are when you are closest to breakthrough. Because I do my greatest work in surrendered vessels. I don't need your image. I want your heart. I'm not impressed by your ability to keep a polished face while your soul is aching. What moves me is your willingness to fall into my arms and say, I trust you even though I don't understand. That is the strength the world can't explain. That is the kind of faith that moves mountains. That is how you pass the test, not through pressure but through peace. Let go of the script you've been trying to follow. You don't have to have the answers. You don't need to pretend you're unbothered. You don't have to be everyone's hero. You just have to be mine, available, honest, and yielded. I can do more with your surrender than you could ever accomplish with your strength. So come as you are, tired, confused, raw, and real. Let your vulnerability become the place where my glory rests. Let your surrender become the very thing that carries you through. And letting go, you'll discover you were never carrying it alone. You have spent so much of your energy trying to manage what feels unmanageable. Your emotions, your expectations, your relationships, your responsibilities. You've been juggling the pieces of your world, hoping that if you can just keep everything from falling, it will all make sense in the end. But I never asked you to carry the full weight of what's unfolding. That pressure wasn't placed on you by me. I see how you've been stretched thin, trying to be strong for others, trying to show up even when your heart feels heavy, trying to be present when your mind is overwhelmed. And while I honor your faithfulness, I am calling you into something higher: dependence. You don't need to keep performing like you're unshaken when I already know the tremors in your soul. You don't have to prove that you're unbreakable. I never created you to carry that kind of burden. You were made to be held, not just helped. And I'm not stepping in to assist you occasionally. I want to carry you entirely. You're not disappointing me by struggling. I'm not shaking my head when you feel close to tears. In fact, it's in your lowest moments that I draw closest, not furthest. I've been gently waiting for you to loosen your grip and let me step into the place you've been trying to control. The breaking you fear is not the end. It's the beginning of real freedom. Because only when you loosen your hold can I fully take my place as the one who holds all things together, including you. Stop trying to be everything, for everyone. Stop exhausting yourself trying to maintain what I never asked you to build alone. Come to me with the pieces. I'm not ashamed of your mess. I'm moved by your willingness to trust me with it. You will fall apart when you let go. You'll actually begin to heal. The image you've held so tightly is exhausting your spirit. You don't need to look strong. You need to be still. I know how deeply you care. I know how much you've sacrificed. I know how much you silently carry without saying a word. But even your silent tears speak to me louder than shouted prayers. Let me catch what you're afraid to drop. Let me hold what you've clutched in fear. I am not a distant observer of your chaos. I am an ever-present Father, ready to embrace you right where you are. The test is not about how well you can hold everything together. The test is how much you're willing to let go so I can hold you through it. There is rest for you here, not in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of trust. When you finally release your desperate grip, you'll find I've been here all along, waiting to carry you where your strength runs out. My arms are not just strong, they are safe. My embrace is not temporary, it's eternal. You don't have to impress me. You just need to trust me. You're not failing by letting go. You're finally allowing me to lead. And when you rest in me, the things you thought would crumble without your constant attention will begin to realign under my hand. You were never designed to be your own foundation. I am your rock. I am your balance. I am your shelter. So, release the tension in your chest. Exhale the fear. Let the tears fall. And lean. You held it all together long enough. And now let me hold you completely. I promise. I will not let you go. This is not just a personal refining. It's a divine revealing. You are not walking through this season alone. And what's being tested isn't limited to your thoughts, your faith, or your commitment. I am also uncovering what lies in the hearts of those around you. This is a moment of clarity, not just for your growth, but for your discernment. You've walked beside people with unclear intentions. You've loved deeply without knowing what rested beneath the surface of their words. You've trusted those whose loyalty was circumstantial. But in this test, I will draw a line between what is genuine and what is convenient, between who was sent by me and who simply stayed for what benefited them. You won't have to search for answers. I will let the pressure speak. Because it's in discomfort that true motives emerge. When support costs nothing, it's easy to offer. But when standing beside you comes with sacrifice, resistance, or misunderstanding, that's when the truth comes to light. You may be shocked by some of the revelations. You may feel disappointed when certain faces fade or when silence replaces encouragement. But don't harden your heart. This is my mercy in motion. I am not trying to break your relationships. I'm showing you which ones were never truly built on solid ground. Some were seasonal. Some were sent for a purpose that has now been fulfilled. Others were never aligned with the weight of where I'm taking you. And while I know it stings to watch familiar hands withdraw, I am allowing it so that what remains is pure. This isn't to isolate you. It's to protect what I am growing in you. You need people around you who won't collapse when your faith is challenged. You need those who aren't just present in comfort but persistent in covenant. I will show you who sees you through the lens of calling, not convenience. Pay attention. Watch how people respond to your testing, not just your triumph. Some will stand silently, not out of malice, but because they were never equipped to go further. Others will reveal agendas they never spoke aloud. Still others will rise in quiet strength, holding you in prayer when words fail. I will reveal the hidden postures of hearts, not to cause division, but to prepare you for alignment. This is a shift, not a severing. This is cleansing, not cruelty. You are not being punished with loneliness. You are being positioned for clarity. And in that clarity, I will bring new connections that are rooted in covenant, not convenience. You will not have to question their motives. They will come with humility, with shared fire, and with the same heartbeat for my will. But to recognize them, you must first release your grip on those I am exposing. I know how loyal your heart is. I know how much you long to bring everyone with you. But not everyone is meant to go where I'm leading you. This test will not only refine your spirit, it will refine your circle. And that is a blessing in disguise. As I reveal hearts, do not respond with bitterness. Respond with gratitude. Every exposure is my kindness. Every distance is my direction. You are not losing people, you are gaining focus. And what is built on truth will not be shaken. Let me clean what you've been afraid to touch. Let me reorder what you've been trying to preserve. And know this, when I reveal hearts, I also heal yours. I will restore your trust. I will surround you with those who are true. Let me do the sifting. I will not leave you without community. I will lead you to the ones who carry my spirit and can walk beside you into the next chapter with unwavering faith. There is a sacred weight to testing seasons, for they do not merely press circumstances, they draw out the reality of what hath been hidden in the hearts of those involved. While many may speak the right words when conditions are easy, a test reveals who they truly are when ease is stripped away. It is in the shaking that masks begin to slip and intentions are unveiled. This time, I am not only refining you, I am separating truth from illusion. There are those who have walked beside you in appearance, but not in spirit. There are some who wore the garments of support but carried a heart of self-interest. Their words may have aligned with righteousness, but their actions will now tell the deeper story. Don't be alarmed when this happens. Don't feel betrayed when people you once trusted show themselves to be inconsistent or performative. This is not to wound you, it is to free you. I am exposing false attachments, not to isolate you, but to protect the integrity of your next steps. The pressure of the test will force motives to the surface. Some will run when the fire increases. Others will remain, but only to observe. But those who stand firm with pure hearts, those who stay faithful even when no one watches, will rise with favor that no man can manipulate. I am not looking for false actions, I am searching for faithful hearts. The ones who serve without needing a stage. The ones who stay honest when no reward is promised. The ones who follow me not for benefits but because they love me. In this testing hour, elevation will not come to those who perform. It will come to those who persevere. My anointing is not given to those who pretend strength. It is poured out upon those who choose obedience in private, even when no applause follows. You may feel like you're being overlooked, while others who lack depth seem to be advancing. But do not be discouraged. That is not true promotion. That is noise that will soon fall silent. What is built on pretense will not stand the weight of the next season. The house of pride always looks strong until the winds come. And they are coming. And when they do, what's real will remain. You don't need to fight for validation. You don't need to prove your purity or explain your loyalty. Your consistency will speak when others' performances collapse. I will make sure of it. You will be seen, not by striving but by standing. You will be honored, not by self-promotion, but by divine elevation. And when I raise you, no one will be able to deny it, because they will have seen what others abandon. They will have witnessed your quiet integrity, your steady heart, your refusal to sell out or compromise. I am raising a generation of the genuine, not the polished, not the popular, but the proven. And you are among them. Do not lower your standard to fit in with those who build platforms on pretense. I am building something in you that will last. And while the pretending ones fall away in exposure, you will rise, not in arrogance, but in authority. You will carry a weight that was forged in purity. Let me remind you, the rise may be quiet, but it will be unstoppable. And when it happens, it won't be about status, it will be about stewardship. I will trust you with more because you proved faithful with less. Let others seek applause. You, my beloved, stay rooted in truth. Because this test will not just expose the performers, it will crown the authentic. In the sacred unfolding of this test, know that I am not measuring how flawlessly you move, but how faithfully you respond. This journey was never about impressing me with flawless execution. It's always been about your willingness to remain genuine, especially when things become unclear. I am looking beyond what others can see. I examine the posture of your heart when pressure builds, when expectations are unmet, and when assumptions are made against you. There will be moments in this process when others misread your silence as arrogance or mistake your humility for weakness. There will be times when your good intentions are twisted and your kindness is returned with suspicion. But even in those moments, I ask you to keep your spirit clean. Do not allow bitterness to stain what I am purifying. When you are falsely judged, stay grounded. When you are not invited, remain gracious. When your actions are questioned without cause, continue to walk with integrity. Your response matters more than the situation. What you do in the face of accusation reveals more than what you say when things are peaceful. I am paying attention to the attitude with which you carry what others cannot see. A pure heart in the midst of being misunderstood carries more weight in my kingdom than 1,000 well-defended arguments. This test is not about proving your innocence to people who never intended to understand you. It's about trusting that I see all and will honor your restraint. Resist the urge to retaliate. Resist the desire to correct every false narrative. Instead, let your consistency over time speak what a single conversation never could. I will be your defender. I will clear the fog of assumption in my own time. And when I do, it will be unmistakable who has walked in light and who has hidden behind shadows. Until then, be still in your integrity. Protect your inner world from contamination. Your greatest victory in this test may not come through a breakthrough others can see, but through your quiet refusal to become hardened by injustice. Even if you feel unseen, I am watching with careful eyes. Even if you feel unheard, I am listening to every cry you've hidden behind brave smiles. Every act of compassion you've extended, every time you've chosen mercy over revenge, every moment you've blessed those who misunderstood you. I have written it all down. Your faithfulness is not going unnoticed. The world applauds boldness, but I reward purity. The world may elevate the loudest, but I exalt the faithful. I am cultivating in you a character that can carry weight without corruption. So be careful not to let resentment root itself when you're treated unfairly. Don't let offense build a home in your soul. I have called you higher, not just in assignment, but in attitude. The higher I lift you, the cleaner your heart must remain. And I am lifting you. Slowly, steadily, and in a way that will not crumble. But I must ensure that you are free from the poisons of resentment before I do. So when you are tempted to lash out, pause and remember that I am with you. When you feel abandoned or misrepresented, come to me, not to vent but to be healed. I will strengthen your spirit to endure what your heart cannot carry alone. And I will reward you, not just with promotion, but with peace. A peace that surpasses understanding. A peace that guards your mind from overthinking and your emotions from instability. This is the kind of peace I give to those who pass the test not through perfection, but through purity. Keep your heart open. Keep your response rooted in love. That is what makes you unstoppable in my hands. When the noise fades and your prayers seem to hang in the stillness, it's easy to assume that I've withdrawn. But I assure you, I have not gone anywhere. I'm right here, closer than ever, yet choosing not to interrupt the moment with immediate resolution. Why? Because silence is not distance, it's depth. It's in the still places that I learn what truly governs your heart. When there is no answer to guide your next move, when there's no confirmation to validate your decision, when no voice breaks through the fog, that is when your trust is tested in its purest form. I know you long for direction. I see the desire in you to be certain before you take another step. And I understand that waiting without clarity can feel like wandering. But don't confuse my quietness with disengagement. I am watching, not with indifference, but with intensity. Every moment you choose to believe when you can't see, every time you keep walking without a visible path, every second you trust my character even when my voice feels hidden, I see it all, and I treasure it. This part of the test isn't about revelation, it's about relationship. Do you trust me only when I speak, or also when I stay silent? Do you still believe I'm good when I don't give you what you ask for right away? The silence you feel is sacred. It's the furnace where maturity is forged. I'm shaping something in you that can't be taught with constant reassurance. You don't need confirmation for every step when you walk with the one who authored the entire journey. I know your heart wrestles with doubt in this space. I know you've replayed past words, wondering if you missed something. But this is not punishment, nor is it a sign you've gone off course. This silence is strategic. It is the proving ground of trust. It teaches you to anchor your hope in who I am, not just what I say. Because when you come out of this place, you will carry a strength that doesn't crumble just because the voice feels distant. You will become someone who knows me, not just my answers. You will carry a calm that others won't understand, a confidence rooted in experience, not just encounters. Yes, I will speak again. Yes, the clouds will part. Yes, your spirit will hear me like a fresh wind. But until then, I'm inviting you to lean into the stillness with new eyes. Don't run from it. Don't try to fill the silence with distractions or noise. Sit with me in it. Worship even when you feel empty. Obey even when you feel unsure. Listen, not always for words but for peace. Sometimes, I don't give direction because I'm allowing your trust to lead the way. You already carry more of me than you think. My spirit within you hasn't left you unequipped. The quiet is not void of me, it's filled with my intention. When you look back, you'll understand that some of your most powerful breakthroughs were born during the days when I said nothing. You'll see how much was happening while it felt like nothing was moving. I never stopped watching. I never stopped working. I simply chose to step back, not to leave you, but to let your faith stretch wide enough to hold what's coming next. And because you stayed when you felt alone, because you believed when you heard nothing, because you kept walking when no signs confirmed your steps, your reward will be more than answers. It will be revelation. Revelation of who I am, who you've become, and where we're going next, together. Not every battle that presents itself deserves your energy. In this crucial moment of testing, discernment is more valuable than reaction. I know how tempting it is to rise up and respond to every voice, to chase every conflict, to defend yourself in situations that seem unjust. But not all opposition is meant to be engaged. There are struggles that appear urgent but are merely distractions in disguise. I am calling you to walk with precision, not to exhaust yourself in skirmishes that have no eternal weight. You must guard your strength and choose your ground wisely. When I've given you an assignment, anything that pulls you away from it, even if it looks noble, becomes a threat to your focus. The enemy is clever, and if he can't destroy you with obvious sin, he'll try to detour you with unnecessary fights. He'll use offense. He'll stir up misunderstandings. He'll tempt you to get involved in things that look important but are void of my purpose for you. This is why you must be still long enough to hear me before you act. Not every conflict is yours to fix. Not every injustice is yours to address. I am teaching you the power of strategic stillness. Victory isn't found in how many battles you take on. It's in knowing which ones I've ordained you to step into. Some battles are assigned to others. Some are already won. And some I am handling in ways you can't yet see. You are not called to be everywhere, fixing everything. You are called to be obedient to where I've planted you, and faithful with what I've placed in your hands. That is where the oil flows. That is where my grace covers. If you stretch beyond my assignment, you will find yourself fighting without favor. But when you stay within the borders I've drawn, no weapon formed against you will stand. Even when it feels like you're being provoked, hold your ground. I will deal with what you don't see. You don't have to speak into every situation. You don't have to defend your name in every circle. You don't need to prove your heart when I already know it. Let me protect your peace by guiding your steps away from battles that would only drain you. This test is not about showing how much you can handle. It's about showing how much you can surrender. Your strength will not be measured by how loud you respond, but by how faithfully you follow me through the tension. If I haven't told you to engage, then rest. If I haven't led you into it, then walk past it. You are not ignoring reality by choosing peace. You are trusting me with outcomes you can't control. And I promise, nothing done against you in secret will go unnoticed. I will be your defender. I will expose what needs light. But I need you to stay focused. There's something ahead that requires your full attention. The destiny I've prepared for you cannot afford to be delayed by unnecessary distractions. Let others shout. Let others argue. Let others assume. You, stay the course. Keep your spirit clean, your hands unburdened, and your focus sharp. I've already trained you for the battle that matters. Now let me handle the noise that doesn't. You don't need to respond to every invitation to conflict. Your silence will carry more power than their accusations. And when this test is over, you'll look back and see that the ground you chose not to fight on became the path I used to lead you forward. That's the reward of obedience, peace in the middle of provocation, and purpose that never gets tangled in the temporary. There are moments in your journey when the very thing you prayed for seems close enough to touch, and yet, suddenly, the opportunity fades, the door closes, and you're left wondering what went wrong. You ask yourself if you missed something, if your timing was off, if you failed to discern my voice. But I want to reassure you, what looks like delay to you is not denial in my eyes. What feels like a setback is often a safeguard. I do not withhold to punish, I pause to protect. I'm not taking from you. I'm preparing something greater than you can currently comprehend. Every closed door you encounter is not a reflection of rejection, but a sign that I'm orchestrating a far more intentional alignment. You see a single frame of your story, but I hold the entire blueprint. I know what needs to happen in the unseen before what you've asked for can be sustainable in the visible. You may think you're ready, but I see the full picture, the hearts involved, the timing of connections, the maturity required, the dangers hidden behind premature access. I am the God who doesn't just open doors, I guard them. I allow certain opportunities to pass not because I want to disappoint you, but because I refuse to give you less than what fits your full calling. If I allow a door to close, it means that behind it was something that would have weakened what I'm building in you. Yes, it stings in the moment. Yes, it can feel confusing when you've poured your hope into something that suddenly halts. But let my peace settle your heart. This is not the end. It's the setup for a divine intersection you didn't see coming. The delays that frustrate your plans are crafting the timing for something greater. I use waiting seasons not to test your patience but to train your vision. I want you to see that progress in my kingdom is not always movement, it's trust. Can you believe that I'm working when nothing is moving? Can you hold on to joy even when the answer is not yet? That's the kind of faith that passes the deeper test. You won't always get explanations. You won't always receive immediate clarity. But what you will get is my presence, steady and constant, walking with you through every door that closes and every one that hasn't yet opened. Even when you feel left behind, I'm positioning you ahead of what would have distracted or derailed you. Even in the silence, I am crafting connections, aligning divine timing, and preparing you inwardly for what you prayed for outwardly. Do not rush ahead of me. Do not try to pry open what I have sealed shut. What is yours cannot be missed. What I've ordained cannot be delayed beyond its appointed moment. You must learn to rest in my no's as much as you rejoice in my yeses. Because sometimes my no is the greatest evidence of my love for you. I am not slow. I am strategic. And you are not stuck. You are being settled. There is movement happening even when your eyes see stillness. There is growth unfolding even when your circumstances look unchanged. I'm shaping the environment you will walk into so that it matches the promise I placed in your spirit. So trust me. Trust me when doors shut abruptly. Trust me when your name isn't called. Trust me when the answer is wait. Because I never close a door without already preparing one that leads to something better. And when you walk through the one I've ordained, it won't require force. It won't leave you drained. It will open with peace. It will fit like a key in a lock, and it will confirm that every delay was worth it. This season is not designed to expose your flaws. It's meant to uncover the strength I've quietly developed within you. So many times, you've looked at your limitations and wondered if they would disqualify you. You've measured your capacity by your emotions, by your past, or by the weight of what's come against you. But I am not using this test to humiliate you. I'm using it to highlight what has been refined in the hidden places. You see, my testing is never about shame. It's about discovery. I already know what's inside you. I placed it there. But now I want you to see it too. You've grown in ways you haven't recognized. You've overcome more than you give yourself credit for. My grace has been quietly transforming your weakness into power, Not loud, not flashy, but deep and immovable. You don't realize yet how steady you've become, how rooted your spirit is, how quick you are to choose faith over fear. This test isn't coming to point out your cracks. It's coming to reveal that you didn't break when you thought you would. It's coming to prove to your own heart that what you carry is not a fragile hope, but a resilient fire that trials couldn't extinguish. I'm using this season as a mirror, not to reflect your shortcomings, but to reflect the strength I've woven into your character. You've walked through fire, and now you don't even smell like smoke. You've stood in the middle of storms, and still, you're here, praying, praising, pressing on. That is not weakness. That is evidence of transformation. That is the fruit of grace at work. Do not fear this test as if it's come to expose your insufficiency. Rejoice, because it has arrived to confirm that you are no longer the person you used to be. You are more patient now, more compassionate, more grounded in truth. You forgive faster. You bounce back quicker. You carry wisdom that was birthed through pain. I don't test to punish. I test to promote. I allow resistance not to weaken you, but to show you what's been built through endurance. The grace that carried you through your lowest valleys is the same grace that now stands up strong in the face of opposition. You've been wondering, will I make it? But I'm declaring, you already have. What you're stepping into now is not survival mode, it's revelation mode. I'm opening your eyes to see just how equipped you've become through my spirit. You didn't get here by luck or by chance. You've been walking through layer after layer of my training, though it often didn't feel like preparation. You thought you were just enduring delay, but you were being sharpened. You thought you were being held back, but you were being made whole. And now that you stand at this threshold, don't shrink back in doubt. Don't let fear convince you that you're not ready. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, willing, and surrendered. The strength you now carry wasn't something you earned through effort. It's something I poured into you in moments of surrender, in times when you said yes through tears, in days when you kept walking even when you didn't feel seen. That's the kind of strength that holds up under testing. That's the kind of strength that reflects me. So stand firm, not in pride but in peace. The test doesn't define you, it confirms you. It reveals that grace has done its work, and the strength you feel rising even now. That's not pressure, that's the echo of everything I've built in you coming alive. There is a sacred rhythm to your life that cannot be measured by anyone else's pace. What I am doing in you was never meant to be compared, copied, or calibrated against another person's path. And yet, I see how often you glance sideways, measuring your progress against the movement of others. I see how your heart aches when someone else arrives at what you've been waiting for, how you begin to question if I've overlooked you or if you're somehow behind. But child, listen closely. There is no delay in my design for you. You are not behind. You are not being punished. You are not disqualified. Your test is tailored to the purpose I have written specifically for your life. The journey I have you on was carved before time began, with your name etched into every step. What I do in others is not a reflection of what I am withholding from you. It is a demonstration of my goodness in different forms. You don't know the cost of their calling. You don't see the weight of their preparation. And just as I'm working with them uniquely, I'm also walking with you intimately. This path you're on isn't slow, it's intentional. I'm developing qualities in you that can't be rushed. I'm forming endurance, patience, discernment, and a capacity to carry what I'm preparing to release in your life. If I gave you what someone else carries, it wouldn't fit you. And if I rushed your process to match theirs, it would collapse under the pressure. I haven't forgotten your prayers. I'm answering them in a way that aligns with your destiny, not with the timelines of others. When you focus on what I'm doing in them, you miss what I'm trying to do in you. This test isn't about watching someone else's testimony. It's about becoming aware of how far you've already come. You don't need their timeline. You need trust. You don't need their path. You need perseverance. And more than anything, You need to remember that comparison is the thief of clarity. It clouds your ability to see what's actually unfolding in your life. It shifts your eyes off your calling and onto someone else's highlight reel. But I am calling you back to your lane. I am asking you to fix your gaze forward, to look not at who's ahead or behind, but to me, the author of your faith. I have not wasted a moment of your process. I have not overlooked a single step. Everything is being woven with purpose, even when you feel left out or left behind. You are not on pause, you're in preparation. And what I'm building in you will be revealed at just the right time. So be faithful where you are. Celebrate others without diminishing yourself. Learn to see their progress as proof that I'm working, because if I did it for them, I can certainly do it for you. I want your heart whole when the promise comes, not bitter or burdened with comparison. I want you to embrace your testimony with joy, not exhaustion from trying to match someone else's pace. You are not too late. You are not too slow. You are not forgotten. I am developing you in the exact rhythm required for your assignment. Your story may look different, but it is no less divine. And when it unfolds, it will carry the undeniable fingerprints of my hand, because it won't look like anyone else's. It will be yours. And it will be beautiful. You will encounter voices that challenge, question, and even ridicule the path I've asked you to walk. Some will laugh not because you're wrong, but because they can't comprehend what I've whispered to you in secret. They weren't present in the quiet hours when I confirmed your calling. They didn't witness the tears you cried in surrender. They don't understand the depth of your obedience or the weight of what you've left behind to follow me. So, naturally, they fill in the blanks with criticism. But I urge you, don't let their misunderstanding shape your identity or distort your direction. Their words may sting, their silence may echo, and their judgment may feel unfair, but none of it has the power to reverse what I have declared over your life. You must learn to separate clarity from applause. I never asked you to live according to public approval. I've asked you to walk by faith, even when no one else claps for it. There are assignments I've placed on your life that will seem strange to those around you. There are sacrifices you've made that others will call foolish. There are boundaries you've set, decisions you've honored, and disciplines you've embraced that will not make sense to those who live according to comfort. But child, they're not supposed to understand. They weren't given your instructions. I didn't reveal your journey to them. I entrusted it to you. So do not waste time explaining what I never asked you to defend. Let them misunderstand. Let them mock. Let them walk away if they must. Your job is not to win their approval. It's to remain aligned with me. And in the end, it won't be their opinion that determines your outcome. It will be my hand that opens every door. There's a reason I've allowed certain voices to fade and certain connection to shift. Not everyone can walk with you into what's next. And those who misunderstand you now might only see clearly much later, if ever. You are not crazy for believing me. You are not overacting for choosing obedience. You are not naive for holding on to the vision I gave you. You are walking in wisdom, even when it looks reckless to those still clinging to predictability. Do not defend your passion to people who have never encountered my presence. Do not tone down your fire just to stay comfortable with those who are lukewarm. I've called you to a higher standard, not to shame others, but to reflect what it means to live fully surrendered. And that kind of life will always make some people uncomfortable. But that discomfort is not yours to carry. Lay down the urge to be understood. You don't need validation when you have confirmation. You don't need everyone to get it. Just stay close enough to me to keep going when no one else agrees. I will vindicate you in time. I will make the fruit of your faithfulness visible. But right now, I am watching how you respond to rejection. Will you keep building when they mock? Will you stay the course when they walk away? Will you obey me even when you're standing alone? That is where your roots grow deep. That is where your character is tested. That is where your breakthrough begins, not when everyone cheers, but when you choose me over being liked. I see your pain, but I also see your resolve. And it is beautiful to me. Don't give it up. Don't lower your voice. Don't shrink back. What I've placed inside of you is too valuable to be compromised for temporary approval. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep honoring what I told you. I am proud of you, not because you're understood, but because you've chosen to remain faithful in spite of it. There will be stretches in this journey where the presence of others grows thin, not because you're forgotten, but because I'm drawing you into a space where my voice becomes louder than all the rest. I know you've grown used to walking with companions, leaning on community, and drawing encouragement from familiar places. But now, in this part of the test, I am calling you into solitude, not to isolate you, but to tune your spirit to a frequency that can't be reached in the noise of crowds. When everything external begins to quiet, it can feel like abandonment. You might wonder if you've done something wrong, if the distance you feel is evidence of disconnection. But I want you to know, this isn't punishment, it's precision. I've stepped into the center of your focus and allowed the volume of other voices to lower so that my whisper is unmistakable. There are things I want to reveal to you, things too sacred to speak when distractions surround you. And so, I lead you to a place where it's just you and me. No filters. No noise. No performance. In that still space, you'll begin to recognize how deeply I've been pursuing you all along. You'll feel the weight of my love in a way you've never encountered before, not because it's suddenly stronger, but because there's finally room to notice it. The absence of others creates space for intimacy with me, and it's in that space where you'll receive fresh instructions, clarity for the next step, and peace that isn't dependent on your environment. Don't be afraid of the silence around you. It is not emptiness, it's atmosphere. It's the sacred air I breathe into when I want to birth something new in you. I did the same for my prophets, my servants, and my son. Before they stepped into fulfillment, I drew them away. Not forever, but for long enough to remind them where their strength truly came from. You're not being left behind, you're being set apart. And while it may feel like loneliness, what's actually happening is alignment. I'm separating you from voices that could interfere with my direction. I'm removing dependency on comfort zones. I'm helping you discover that you are never truly alone when you're with me. I'm not watching you from a distance. I'm sitting right beside you in the stillness. Every sigh, every tear, every unspoken question, I hear it all. And I answer, not always with words, but with presence. A presence that fills the gaps others have left. A presence that holds your heart when no one else knows it's breaking. A presence that strengthens you when your own words fall short. The world teaches you to avoid solitude, but I call you into it to restore you. Because in this quiet place, I rebuild what distraction has worn down. I refill what stress has emptied. I realign what busyness has bent out of shape. So if you feel alone, pause, not in panic, but in awareness. Ask yourself, what might he be trying to show me here? Listen closely, because in this silence you'll hear me in new ways. I will speak through peace that surpasses logic. I will nudge your heart toward decisions that weren't clear before. I will confirm things you've long questioned. This is the sacred place of encounter. Don't rush to escape it. Don't fill it with noise to ease the discomfort. Embrace it. Because what I am doing in your spirit during this time of divine quiet will prepare you for seasons that require unwavering focus and fierce obedience. And when you step back into the world, you won't return the same. You'll walk with a deeper confidence, not based on others' words, but rooted in what you heard from me in the quiet. That is where your strength will come from. That is how you will know you're ready. I have seen what no one else has noticed. The tears you've cried in secret, the ones that never made it into words, the ones you wiped away quickly before anyone could ask what was wrong, those tears are sacred to me. Not one hath been wasted. Not one has gone unnoticed. I have captured every single one, not as a sign of weakness, but as a holy expression of a heart that has continued to trust me in the middle of pain. This season has stretched you, and I know there were nights when you wept without knowing why. You felt overwhelmed, confused, aching for answers that never seemed to come. Others may not have understood the weight you were carrying, but I did. I was there when your chest felt heavy but you had to keep showing up. I was near when you smiled to hide the ache but longed for someone to see the struggle. And I want you to know this: those tears are not forgotten. They are not random. They are not invisible to me. They are prayers in liquid form, intercession that rises from your soul when words can't reach. I have gathered them like treasure, storing them in the chambers of eternity, and I will respond in ways that far surpass what you imagined possible. You cried when you let go of things you thought were permanent. You cried when doors closed without warning. You cried when the silence felt suffocating. And I was closer to you in those moments than you've ever realized. Sometimes, my greatest answers begin with your most vulnerable tears. They soften your heart, they draw you deeper into dependence, and they prepare the soil for miracles that only grow in surrendered places. You may not have seen immediate relief, but don't confuse delay with disregard. I have been working in the background, responding not just to what you said, but to what you felt. You cried because something inside of you still hoped, and that hope was never in vain. My word says those who sow in tears will reap in joy, not maybe, not occasionally, but certainly. What you've planted in the dark through your cries will break forth in the light in due time. I am faithful to restore the places that have been broken, and I do it not by erasing the pain but by redeeming it. What was meant to crush you will become the very place I pour my glory into. And yes, the cries that no one heard, those will be answered first. You see, I am not just interested in lifting your burdens. I am interested in showing you that your heart matters to me more than the outcome. I am not a distant God counting your deeds. I am a present Father, collecting your tears. Because each tear carries a story, a moment, a memory of faith, a sigh of surrender, a plea for peace. And in my love, I don't discard them. I answer them. Not always with instant change, but always with deeper healing. There is a day coming when the very areas you wept over will overflow with evidence of my hand. And when that day comes, you will remember not just what you cried for, but who stood with you while you cried. I will remind you, I was there. I'll show you how I used every sorrow to shape strength within you. I'll reveal how those private moments of weeping became the birthplace of power, wisdom, and anointing. So if you still feel those tears coming now, let them fall. Do not hide them. Do not feel ashamed of your sensitivity. Do not believe the lie that you need to be tougher to make it through. I'm not asking you to harden. I'm asking you to bring those tears to me. Lay them before me again and again. Because every tear carries something I will respond to. And I promise you this, nothing you cry in my presence will ever return empty. I will answer. What you're walking through right now is not only reshaping your circumstances, it's reshaping you. The pain, the pressure, the uncertainty, the stretching, they are all refining tools in my hands. Not to distort your identity, but to reveal what hath been hidden beneath the surface for so long. Here is a you that you haven't fully met yet. A version of yourself that isn't controlled by fear, that doesn't second-guess every decision, that doesn't carry the weight of old wounds into new seasons. A version that walks in boldness, not because everything is certain, but because trust hath been made unshakable. And the only way to bring that version of you forward is through this sacred process. I am not trying to make you someone else. I am stripping away what never belonged to you in the first place. Layers of doubt, insecurity, comparison, and hesitation that have clung to your identity for far too long. The version of you that looks like me isn't louder or more impressive. It's more surrendered, more peaceful, more present. It's the you that leads with love instead of self-preservation, that forgives freely instead of rehearsing pain, that doesn't seek validation in noise but finds satisfaction in my nearness. This test is not a punishment. It's a mirror. Not to shame you, but to show you what I'm bringing out of you. And what I'm bringing forth isn't a future fantasy. It's a you that's been forming in every quiet decision to trust me, It's the result of every unseen moment you chose prayer over panic, worship over worry, integrity over shortcuts. Those choices are not wasted. They are accumulating into transformation. When you look in the mirror after this season, you will see it. You'll notice that your thoughts are quieter. Your reactions are slower. Your discernment is sharper. Your joy is no longer fragile, and your peace no longer depends on outcomes. That's what happens when you walk through fire with me. You come out carrying the fragrance of heaven, not the scars of defeat. This test is producing a depth in you that cannot be shaken by superficial trials. You won't be easily swayed by the things that once stole your focus. The battles that used to wear you out will lose their grip on your attention. Why? Because the version of you I am forming knows who they are, knows whose they are, and walks in alignment with purpose rather than reaction. Don't resist this refining work. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's holy. It's not breaking you. It's building you into someone who reflects me more clearly, loves more fully, and walks more freely. What I'm shaping in your character will carry more weight than any title, any platform, or any possession. Because when you reflect me, you don't just change your life, you impact every space I place you in. You become a living testimony, not because you never struggled, but because you allowed your struggles to draw you closer to me. And the version of you on the other side of this test, that version will be ready, not just to receive promises but to sustain them. I'm not rushing this work in you because I care more about who you're becoming than what you're accomplishing. I know what I'm doing. Trust the process. I'm removing what no longer fits where I'm taking you. I'm silencing voices that never spoke truth to your spirit. I'm healing places you forgot were still bleeding. And all of it is preparing you to walk in rooms you once feared, to speak with authority you didn't know you had, and to love with a heart that no longer holds back. This is who you were always meant to be. Let me finish the work. Let me bring you into the version of yourself that finally looks like the reflection I've always seen. You may not feel it yet, but something powerful is being forged in the fire of this test. What you're enduring isn't just shaping your perspective, it's deepening your spiritual capacity. Each moment you choose to stand when it would be easier to collapse, each time you trust without visible proof, each day you believe when it hurts to hope, those are not small acts. Those are spiritual earthquakes. They are shifting the atmosphere inside of you, making room for a level of authority that only comes through testing, not teaching. The kind of authority I'm speaking of isn't about being louder, more recognized, or more followed. It's about being trusted with power in the unseen realm. It's about becoming someone who speaks and chains break. Someone who prays and darkness flees. Someone who carries peace that shifts entire environments. But this kind of spiritual weight can only be carried by those whose faith has been purified in fire. I'm not interested in surface-level influence. I'm building something deeper within you, something eternal. Many people want to operate with spiritual authority, but few are willing to go through the crushing that refines it. But you, my child, have not run from the pressure. You've stayed when it was painful. You've trusted me through the tension. And because of that, I'm entrusting you with something sacred. You are being prepared to walk in rooms not just with words, but with a presence that cannot be denied. You are being shaped into someone who doesn't just talk about breakthrough, you release it. Not because of anything you've earned, but because of the surrender you've chosen again and again. Do not despise this process. Do not rush past this sacred refining. I am burning off what cannot support what's coming next. I am removing the reliance on self so that your strength is rooted only in me. When the heat rises, know that it is not meant to consume you. It is revealing what is genuine. And what's being revealed in you is precious. It's solid. It's unshakable. I'm giving you authority that doesn't waver when things get hard. Authority that stands still while storms rage. Authority that sees beyond what others fear. This is not emotional hype. This is divine equipping. And it only comes to those who allow me to refine their faith, not just once, but continually. This authority I'm entrusting to you isn't for show. It's for service. It's not for platforms. It's for people. I will use you to heal what others have walked past. I will use your words to lift those who are buried in silence. You will not need to force your way in. I will open the right doors at the right time. You won't need to chase influence. I will place you exactly where your voice is needed. And when you arrive, you will carry weight, not because of your charisma, but because of the purity of your faith. That's what gives you access. That's what gives you credibility in the Spirit. You've been faithful with little, and now I'm preparing to trust you with more, not to elevate your name, but to extend my kingdom. So keep standing. Keep enduring. Keep believing when it feels like nothing is shifting, because everything is. Right now, even in the stillness, I am establishing a depth in your spirit that cannot be shaken by trials, delays, or resistance. When this season lifts, you won't just come out with a testimony, you'll walk out with a mantle. And everywhere you go, the atmosphere will know who sent you. This is what I've been building in you. This is why the test was necessary. And this is how your faith becomes the doorway to supernatural authority that no man can take away. There are moments in your life that felt like something was being taken from you. Relationships, opportunities, dreams you once held tightly. You grieved those moments, and rightfully so. It felt like the ground beneath you was being pulled away, piece by piece. But today, I want to show you something deeper. What you thought was loss was actually my pruning. I wasn't punishing you. I was preparing you. I never take for the sake of emptiness. I remove to multiply. I cut back what would have hindered growth. I strip away what cannot carry the next season. And though it felt like subtraction, it was the beginning of expansion. I'm not done with your life. I'm refining the foundation so what I build will last. I know it didn't feel like a gift at the time. You questioned why I allowed certain people to exit your life. You wondered why doors that looked promising closed so abruptly. You thought perhaps you missed a step, made a wrong turn, or fell short of what I expected. But I was never disappointed in you. I simply saw what you could not. I saw roots growing in places that would drain your strength. I saw attachments forming that would have entangled you. I saw you leaning on things that felt good but lacked substance. And in my love, I intervened, not to hurt you but to protect you from what would have stunted your destiny. Just as a gardener trims a tree so it bears more fruit, I've been cutting away not because I'm done with you, but because I see more in you. You have not been reduced, you are being realigned. What was removed wasn't a mistake. It was mercy. You didn't lose your future when those things fell away. You were cleared to walk into it unhindered. Trust me when I say, I never remove without the intention of replacing it with something greater. It may not come in the same form. It may not look like what you expected. But what I bring will be full of my purpose, wrapped in peace, and anchored in my timing. You don't need to chase what I've cut. You don't need to revive what I've released. Let go fully. And as you do, you'll begin to see that what remained was always meant to stay, and what left was never strong enough to go the distance with you. This is where many stumble, confusing pruning with punishment. But child, I do not punish those I love with silence and loss. I shape them through intentional removal. I know exactly how much to cut and exactly when to do it. If you trust me in the harvest, you must also trust me in the pruning. Because the greater the assignment, the more necessary it is to trim the unnecessary. You are stepping into a season where you will thank me for what didn't work out. You'll see how every no protected you, how every shift was strategic, and how every goodbye was an invitation into something deeper. Let me remind you, you're not empty, you're open. You're not behind, you're being positioned. I'm freeing your hands to receive what your heart has been aching for. You just didn't know that you couldn't carry both the old and the new. The roots I'm nurturing now are deep. They won't sway with opinion. They won't dry up in drought. They will rot when storms come. Because this time, what I'm building in you won't be shaken by what used to shake you. is stronger, is pure. It's lasting. So, instead of mourning what's gone, prepare for what's growing. The branches may look bare now, but watch, I will bring beauty from what felt like barrenness. What seemed like loss was only the beginning of more. There are moments when life takes a turn that feels like it defies logic. The promises you held close seem distant. The ground you once walked confidently now feels unfamiliar, and nothing around you looks like what I spoke over your life. But I want you to hear this today. I allowed this test, not because I doubt you, but because I trust what I've placed inside of you. You see confusion, but I see potential. You see delay, but I see destiny unfolding. When everything seems uncertain, and yet you still choose to trust me, something sacred happens. You reflect me. Not just in your words, not just in your worship, but in the way you endure when nothing is clear. I could have made the path easier. I could have lined up all the answers before you took the first step. But then it wouldn't be faith, it would be comfort. And I am not raising you to be dependent on clarity, I'm shaping you to walk in trust. I permitted this testing season because I knew you wouldn't curse me when things went quiet. I knew you would hold on when others walked away. I knew that even when your heart felt heavy, you would still whisper, I trust you, Lord. That kind of faith. Faith in the dark, faith under pressure, faith when logic falls apart, is what moves heaven. And that's the faith I'm drawing out of you now. Do not believe the lie that this test means something is wrong. Quite the opposite. It means you're ready for more. I don't test what I haven't already equipped. I don't allow pressure where I haven't already placed resilience. I knew this moment would come, and I looked at you and said, they can carry this. They won't reflect fear. They'll reflect me. You may not feel strong. You may even wonder why I chose you for this path. But that's exactly why I did, because your strength isn't rooted in pride, it's rooted in surrender. Your life is not defined by perfection but by perseverance. And in that, you are showing the world what it looks like to walk with me even when the map is missing. Every time you respond with grace instead of offense, every time you choose to serve while you're still healing, every time you extend kindness in the face of misunderstanding, you are becoming more like me. The test isn't just about what happens around you. It's about how you reflect who I am through it. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to pretend to be unaffected. But you do need to keep showing up. Keep seeking. Keep believing. Not because it always feels good, but because you trust that I am good, even when nothing else is. That is what reveals me in you. I could have chosen someone else, someone who seemed more ready on the outside. But I chose you, not for how loud your faith appears, but for how deep it actually runs. And that depth is being drawn to the surface now. This is more than a test. It's a transformation. You're becoming more than just someone who follows me. You're becoming someone who reveals me. When others see how you endure, how you speak, how you wait, they'll get a glimpse of me. And that's what this has been about all along. Not just reaching your breakthrough, but becoming a reflection of the one who carried you through it. So take heart, my child. I see your quiet strength. I see your steady faith. I see how you haven't let this test harden you. And I'm smiling, because I know how powerful it is when someone reflects me, not when it's easy, but when it's hardest. That's what you're doing. That's what I trusted you to do. And you're doing it beautifully. I know how deeply you long to move forward, how every delay feels like a weight pressing against your spirit. You've prayed with urgency, fasted with expectation, and watched others step into what seemed like instant favor. You've asked, how much longer, Lord? And felt the sting of silence. But I need you to understand something sacred. This season cannot be hurried. This test is not about speed, it's about formation. There are things I'm shaping in your spirit that cannot be rushed, and if you try to bypass the process, you'll miss the very foundation needed to sustain what I'm preparing to release. Patience is not punishment. It's protection. You live in a world that celebrates instant results, that applauds quick success and visible milestones. But my kingdom works differently. I move with intention, not haste. I am not concerned with how fast you get there. I'm concerned with who you become along the way. You see, performance tries to impress me with activity, but patience honors me through trust. Anyone can act busy. Anyone can put on a show of strength. But the one who waits with a steady heart, who remains faithful when there's nothing to measure, is the one who truly passes the test. This isn't about being impressive. It's about being rooted. I'm not asking you to perform for me. I'm inviting you to walk with me, step by step, even when the steps feel slow. There's something happening in the stillness that can't be seen right now. I'm establishing spiritual depth. I'm teaching your soul to breathe without striving. I'm anchoring your identity in my presence, not in outcomes. Because if I gave you everything you're asking for too soon, it would overwhelm rather than bless you. The delay isn't because you're failing. It's because I'm building something too precious to be rushed. Your patience is producing maturity. It's sharpening your discernment. It's refining your motives. It's preparing you to handle blessing without pride and to carry influence without losing your center. Don't let impatience push you into doors I never opened. Don't let comparison pressure you into proving something. The temptation will come to move faster, to take matters into your own hands, to settle for what's available instead of waiting for what's appointed. But I promise, what I have for you will be worth the wait. What I bring won't come with anxiety or compromise. It will come clothed in peace, arriving at the moment your spirit is fully ready to receive it. Right now, I want you to focus on learning the rhythm of grace. Learn to find joy in stillness. Learn to see growth in unseen places. Not everything I'm doing in you will be visible immediately, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Some of the most powerful transformation happens beneath the surface, in the quiet obedience of daily surrender. Every time you choose to wait on me instead of pushing your own way forward, you're planting seeds that will yield fruit you never imagined. You are not behind. You are exactly where I need you to be for the fullness of what's ahead. Trust that I know the perfect time. Trust that I'm orchestrating details far beyond your view. And trust that your willingness to wait will not be forgotten. I will honor your patience. I will reward your restraint. I will open doors that cannot be shut. And when they open, you will walk through them without doubt, without fear, and without the weariness of striving. Because you allowed me to finish the work within you before rushing ahead. So rest, my beloved. You are not delayed. You are developing. Let this season unfold without the weight of performance. You don't have to prove anything. You simply need to remain. And as you do, you'll find that patience doesn't hold you back. It positions you perfectly for everything I've prepared. There will come a time, not long from now, when the very ones who watched your struggle in silence will begin to notice your rise. They will look at your peace, your strength, your steady progress, and they will wonder how it was possible. They will see fruit that doesn't match the environment you were planted in. They will recognize doors that opened when logic said they should have remained closed. They'll remember the seasons where it looked like you had no support, no favor, no pathway forward. Yet somehow, here you are, still standing, even shining. And in that moment, you will not need to prove anything. You won't have to explain every detail of your journey. All you will say is, "It was the Lord." This test, the one that has brought you through fire, uncertainty, tears, and a quiet kind of endurance, is about to become the very testimony that reveals my glory. I'm writing a story through your life that others will read without you having to say a word. But when they do ask, and they will, you won't point to your intelligence, your connections, your plans, or your strength. You will point to me, not because you're trying to sound humble, but because you will know in your heart that I was your only way through. I was the one who sustained you when everything around you tried to break you. I was the steady hand that guided you through fog and fear. I was the voice in the quiet, the shelter in the storm, the rest in the wrestle. You didn't make it through because everything got easier. You made it through because you stopped relying on what was visible and began to lean fully into me. And now, others will see the outcome of that hidden surrender. They'll see the kind of peace that can't be manufactured. They'll see the kind of joy that doesn't require explanation. They'll see the kind of confidence that doesn't demand attention, but carries authority. And you won't carry it with pride, you'll carry it with purpose. Because everything you walk through wasn't just for you. It was for those who are still in their own valley. It was for those whose faith is hanging by a thread. It was for those who have started to believe that God only moves for certain people, or that their brokenness has disqualified them. You'll carry a testimony that says, I've been through the dark and still found the light. I've known the silence and still held the promise. I've lost what I thought I couldn't live without and discovered that God was more than enough. And in doing so, you will give others permission to hope again. You will become a signpost for grace, a reminder that it's not over when it feels over, and that there's a God who restores, revives, and rewrites what felt like the end. The test you're in now is shaping that kind of witness. It's bigger than your current emotions. It's preparing you to carry the kind of story that brings freedom to others. So don't despise the slow progress. Don't mourn what hasn't happened yet. Because I'm not just doing something for you. I'm doing something through you. And when the fullness of this story unfolds, it will be clear that it was never about your perfection. It was about your persistence. It was never about how much you knew. It was about how deeply you trusted. And that trust, that faith, that consistency in the unseen, that's what will speak loudest when the time comes. So hold on a little longer. Keep your heart tender, your eyes fixed, your hands lifted, because what I'm building in you is about to be revealed. And when they ask how you survived, how you thrived, how you kept going, you will smile, not in pride, but in peace, and say, it was never me. It was always Him. There is an appointed moment ahead where the trial you've been walking through will no longer define your days. It will launch you into the very thing you were created for. This test was never meant to be your final destination. It was a proving ground, the refining fire, the preparation zone for something far more significant than just surviving hardship. You didn't endure this just to go back to normal. You've been shaped, stretched, emptied, and refilled so that when the dust settles, you won't just emerge as someone who made it through. You'll stand as someone who has been elevated into destiny. I allowed this testing not to break your spirit, but to align your path. And now, what has felt like pressure will give way to purpose. You have no idea what I've been arranging while you've been trusting me in the dark. Behind every scene of confusion, behind every waiting room, behind every delay, I've been building something that carries your name on it. Doors you thought were sealed shut are about to open with clarity. Things that didn't make sense will suddenly come together with ease. The weight you carried in silence will be exchanged for influence that rests on a healed heart. The places you once stood as a servant in hiding, I will now bring you into as a voice that carries impact. And it won't be because you tried harder. It will be because you endured without compromise. Promotion in my kingdom is not earned through effort. It is entrusted through faithfulness. And you, my child, have been found faithful. Not because you always felt strong, but because you didn't give up when it would have been easier to walk away. I saw your quiet prayers. I witnessed your hidden worship. I watched as you chose me when comfort was calling. Every single moment was recorded in heaven, not as a list of deeds, but as seeds sown in humility, obedience, and surrender. And now, those seeds are breaking through the soil. The fruit of your faith is beginning to ripen. And the time is near when I will call you into rooms you once only dreamed of, not to elevate your name, but to fulfill the assignment I planted deep within you before the foundations of the world. This promotion won't look like the world's version of success. It won't be about titles, applause, or appearances. It will be deeper. It will be marked by authority, peace, and a sense of divine alignment that leaves no doubt you were meant to be there. I will surround you with the right voices, the right resources, and the right opportunities. You won't have to force anything. You won't have to chase what belongs to you. Your name is already known where it needs to be. My favor has already gone ahead of you. What you are stepping into is not random. It is strategic, timed perfectly, and sealed in my covenant with you. But remember this, your promotion is not the finish line. It's the beginning of a new assignment. You are being elevated not for comfort, but for influence. What you've learned in the fire is what others will need when they feel lost in theirs. What nearly crushed you will become the very thing you stand on to lift others up. So walk forward with humility, with gratitude, with eyes wide open to the fact that I didn't just bring you through. I transformed you on the way. You are ready, not because you are flawless, but because you are yielded. Not because you know everything, but because you've learned to listen. And I can do more with a surrendered heart than a skilled hand. So rise now, not just in strength, but in purpose. The test has served its purpose. The refining is nearly complete. And what's coming next will be greater than what you've imagined, not just because of where it will take you, but because of who you've become on the way there. You didn't just pass. You've been prepared. You didn't just endure. You've been positioned. Now go forward and walk fully into what I've been saving for such a time as this. Amen.